Back to kind of hot, kind of healthy. We are potting from a new location. Well, I am. Maddie's not. Hi, Maddie.
Yep. Hi. Yes, new Loco, new Bish. How is it?
It's good. I hate the blue in this room. Like I feel like I'm like in a baby boy's room.
It
Um,
looks gray.
it looks gray, but it's definitely blue. And in
Hmm.
the primary bedroom, guess what color everything is?
Blue?
Lavender.
Lavender.
It's ugly
Oh.
as fuck. Like the curtains that were left in there are lavender. They like color drenched the room besides the ceiling. Like everything
Mhm.
is lavender. And it's like on camera. I was showing my friend on FaceTime. She's like, oh, it doesn't look lavender. And I was like, no, 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 no. It is lavender and it is horrible. Um, but James and I were like picking out colors because my dad's gonna come up and help us paint. He's a painter. So shout out, dad. Um, but it is so hard to pick out paint colors. I'm like stressed, but I
Yeah,
think I think we
yeah.
have colors.
It took me a while just to figure out that one. And now I'm like, do I
Yeah.
even want this color any? I know. I'm like, well, it took forever to paint it, so we're not going back.
I remember you like put on Instagram. I think your sister had done like a rendering of like what it would
Hmm.
look like. And what
Hmm.
did you choose before? It was like a red or some
Oh
shit.
God, at one point it was like a barnyard in here. Like we didn't paint it, we just photoshopped it. And I was like, because the room shape is like a triangle at the top.
Yes,
So it literally was giving barnyard animals. So
it's
didn't go,
giving barnyard.
yeah. So we didn't go that one, but I love this color, but it's just not fitting for podcasting. So I probably will eventually you're gonna see a lighter color behind me, which might look better with the couch. So it's not like
I
couch
love that
seeping.
couch
I
too
love
because you
this.
can't really see the beautiful color of it.
I know, I think because of the dark color, but yes.
Yeah.
And also, if you're a cat owner and worried about a couch, get a velour couch. They will never scratch it. There's nothing for them to scratch onto.
Oh.
She scratches our carpet. She scratches our old junky couch because it's like woven, like that kind
Yeah.
of
Oh,
material.
it's
And this,
nice.
there's nothing for her to scratch.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's iconic because we definitely in the future like need a new couch.
Hmm.
Um, and that's my concern. I'm like, I don't want to like pay all this fucking money and then
Yeah.
have them absolutely destroy it because
Yep.
they will. They love like stretching on the back of the couch. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just hear like the ripping. I'm like, oh God, we look like trash. Like, can you guys just fucking chill with it? And they're like, no, absolutely not. I'm sitting on another chair right now that was like brand new and they've kind of like made it look fucked up. But I'm like, how do I get them to stop? I can't.
All velour. Everything
Lord, that's
velour.
iconic. Okay, that is like going on the list because I have been asking myself that question for a while. Love it.
Mhm.
Iconic.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I have everything in my life to thank to you for telling me this information.
Literally.
So you just got
Uh,
back from a retreat as well. How was it?
I did. Lacey's retreats, like the first one, I was like, what am I getting into if I go to this? And
Sure.
then it's just like so much like I feel like there's a lot of growth in
Mm,
just opening up to different like I don't know, different ways of thinking, just different activities, being around people you've never like met in person before.
right.
And that's always like just talking like especially as entrepreneurs and health coaches like and being totally virtual, we just fall into the trap of like we are just in our house 24/7 like working
Mm,
and you get less and less human interaction as your business grows, literally. And so it's nice being with other coaches who are literally experiencing the same things you are and also feel isolated and can't resonate as much with their, normal friends who don't run a business, who aren't entrepreneurs, who aren't health coaches. So it's really nice to talk to people that know exactly how you're feeling.
mm,
But like me
mm.
and you talk about this stuff all the time, but like talking about in person is like
Yeah, it's
totally
so
different.
different.
It is
Yeah,
so
it's
different.
it's just a level of like just like feeling somebody's like emotion in person. And it's so like it's so hard to have people understand exactly because even sometimes people will still ask me, so like what exactly like do you do? Like what does like a nutrition coach mean? Or like how do you train people? Like do you like work out with them on Zoom? And I'm like, No, 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 that would like kind of defeat the purpose of like being online, but it's hard for like people that have never had a coach or are not in the world to fully get it. So it
Mhm.
is nice to like touch base and touch grass with like real people.
Literally. And then we had one of the activities was we had a photographer come. He texted Lacey an hour before because she was just like checking up on him and
Totally.
he canceled. He didn't show up.
Perfect. Why does
So
that like why am I not surprised?
I was just like, and everyone was saying everything in Florida, people are just very like shady slash like not like they're not gonna like contractors like anything like that kind of stuff like they're just hard to get a hold of and they're like I'm not
Mm.
surprised like he did that so he quit on us so we just like we're using my tripod and my shitty tripod because I broke my nice one so we made it work, whatever. And then on the one morning we had Lacey hired a lady she previously worked with. She does like meditation sound bowls where it's like those bowls and you like go in a circle and
Mm.
it's like that noise kind of, And that was really fun. And then I did it and I was like, this is addicting. I ordered one, came home, did it immediately, loved it. So now I'm obsessed with that. Um what else?
Do
No, it's
you
just
watch
really
Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? Oh no, I told you about it and you need
I
to.
yeah, I tried.
So
Couldn't
in
get into it.
season 4, one of the girls, her name is Whitney, she was having like a relaunch party or something to like kick off her like rebrand of like her skincare, all that. And they were doing like a sound bath. And then like in the
Mm.
background, like this girl, Lisa and Monica were like screaming at each other, and you just have like the sound bath, and then it cuts to the screaming, the sound bath, and it
Wait,
cuts to
Lisa
the
Ann?
screaming. Lisa and Monica.
No, but is there a Lisa Ann? Like her name's
No,
Lisa Ann? No?
no,
Oh, anywhere in any of the housewives?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Why?
okay. I
You
just
know
saw on
her?
t yeah.
Are you
I
talking about
saw
Anne Marie?
no, I swear it was Lisa Ann. I saw a housewife just got arrested at a Matt Rife uh show.
We need to
I
look
saw it
that
on
up.
TikTok and she was like, I didn't do anything. Like she was screaming.
It was a housewife?
I I
Okay, let's
think
Google this. Housewife
she looked housewifey,
arrested at.
Matt Rife.
Okay, let's see. Oh, you're right. Oh,
I told you.
she's an adult film star.
Oh. Oh, you know how I know her? I'm gonna tell you how I know her. Not because I've watched her. Wait, let me tell you how I know her. Let
Okay.
me tell you. Okay, I used to religiously listen to Mind Pump. I stopped listening to them.
What's
Side
that?
note, it's like three dudes who were all trainers and then came together and created, which was like a really great podcast and like programs, and they have really good programs. However, I stopped supporting them because they support NCI coaching and Jason
Mm,
Phillips. And I don't know if they're the same thing, I can't remember. But Jason Phillips was like a business coach and like a
yeah.
trainer for trainers, but he was like sleeping with a ton of women. So no, like of the people he
Yeah.
was mentoring, like that's a power
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah.
And then
Nope, not the vibe.
NCI is like period schemy and they like just take people's money and 10K guaranteed in the first month you work. No. So I don't
Nope.
support any shit like that. So Mind Pup, you're dead to me. Anyway, anyway, Lisa Ann, they had her on and I listened to it and it was a because she was like in the adult industry and then was like basically getting out of it. Like how can I keep making money long term? I'm not going
Yeah.
to be like hot, young, just big boobs, like adult film star forever. You're going to burn out eventually. So they were talking to her on how she like changed her career and went different ways and got into basketball. And so she's interesting. But that's who, yeah, I thought that was a housewife. She looked like it.
You're like, she was rich looking and causing a scene. So, like,
Yes.
that is
They
a
go hand in
housewife.
hand. But
I am so obsessed with that
oh,
revelation.
overall, the retreat was great. I love it.
Yeah.
I definitely got FOMO because by the end, like I kind of wanted to go to Disney with everyone, but I had to pay for a Disney ticket and I would have to pay to change my flight. And I was like,
Uh,
that put me at like almost 600 extra. And I was like, no, no, we are going home. I've been here since
yeah.
Wednesday. Time to go home and act like an adult. But it was really fun. Yeah.
I have a really hard time like getting back into reality. You know what I mean? Like after
Mm.
like doing like a vacation or something fun or like whatever. I'm like,
Mhm.
I just want to keep the good vibes going. I don't want to like
I know.
be an adult and have to like do boring ass shit, especially when you're like with a group of people that you're like, ah, these are such good vibes. This is good energy.
Yes, I 100%. No one went, like the one girl, Olivia, she literally called Google and was trying to get my flight changed. Like she was not giving me an option.
Google.
Or Chase, because long story short, I booked through Chase Travel to get extra points. So she was calling Southwest and like it was like a whole, and I was like, Olivia, I was car sick, and then Olivia's in the background, like
No,
literally being, I was like, you should have been a lawyer. Like it was really funny. It was so fun. Like and especially like I haven't met these people before besides Lacey and Kimberly. And
sure,
I was
sure.
like, and you just don't know. Like, and then the three of them, Olivia, Carrie, and Ashley all came from the airport together pretty much.
Okay.
Carrie picked them up. So just me and Lacey there. And then they came in kind of like three amigos already. And I was just like, oh my God, like what if we don't vibe? And
Right.
the one girl I was wishing was there, Jacqueline, shout out to you, still mad at you. I know you had fun doing your thing, but really wanted her to come. She wasn't there. So I was like kind of like, hopefully this goes well because I don't know
Yeah.
anyone.
Well, it kind of like brings us or me back to a conversation we had. Like, are you the friend that like brings people together, or do you feel like you're kind of on the outside? And I think like as an adult, sometimes it can feel really hard to make friends because like you have that like teenage brain inside of you where you're like, oh, like,
Yes.
is it like, are they not gonna like me? Are they gonna like
Yep.
judge me or think I'm
Yep.
weird or whatever? So like that
Yep.
super valid. And like I still get like awkward and self-conscious. I'm like, are people gonna like feel some type of way about me? And then I'm like, whatever. Oh, so if they do. But it's kind of
Yeah.
nice when, you're going to a retreat like that, like everyone is probably pretty much on like the same wavelength and like they want to
Yeah.
meet people. So I'm glad that like
Yes.
you didn't have a horrible experience. You know what I mean?
Same.
Like,
I don't
can you imagine? Like,
I
do you think
know.
people like I'm sure that happens to some people. Like they pay all this money, they go on a retreat, they expect this like amazing experience, and then it's awful. Like, we need those
Yeah.
stories. Have you had a horror
Well,
story? Anyone
Ca-
listening?
Carrie at the retreat had a bad experience at one previously. Yeah.
Oh,
She told us all about it. I'm not gonna name names or anything, but it just wasn't great. I think
oh,
Did Lacey have a bad retreat? I can't remember. She had bad something.
sure.
But yeah, and then as we're talking, we're like all realizing we have the same issues when it comes to making friends. And I was like, and Lacey said something like really like I was like, so true. She was like, I realized there is nothing wrong with being alone, like and
Mm,
not having like all these friends. And I was like, you know what? I'm done making friends. I'm done. Doors are
yeah.
closed. Like I don't need anyone else. Like it's just energy. Like 9 out of 10 chance. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Is that right? 9 out of 10 chance.
Yes.
No, I don't know.
9 out of 10 times.
Okay.
It's gonna be a
And
bad
not
experience.
no. Well, I would say 99% chance we're not gonna
Ah,
vibe anyway because it's like I need that. I need that same thing of like you maybe or starting your own business or have that kind of drive. It's like
yeah.
I just like talking to people that just kind of don't have that or that kind of mindset. Like I think we talked about this before, but I feel like even at the retreat we were saying this, like the amount of self-growth and personal growth and like spiritual mental growth that owning a business requires, like
Mm,
normal people, not to be like we're not better, but like we just like have to tap in and learn these things about ourselves that like the average person who works for someone comes home and then just like doesn't think about work. They never
yeah.
have to go there with
Right.
their mind. So it's just so hard to like be friends with people that don't have to do that or aren't open to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's
So
it's also like we're at an age where we value these things more. And it's not like when you're
mhm,
younger in high school or even in college where you're like, I still want to make friends. I don't care if we're not all fully like on the same path or
Hmm.
think the same or have the same like, drive. But now,
Hmm.
closer to 30, it's like I don't want just like fluff friends.
I don't either. I literally don't. Like, I just, what's the point? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I
I
mean,
just
it's
don't.
like valid. Like,
Yeah. Like, I honestly don't want to go and like get lunch or something. It's partly because it's hard with my autoimmune. I'm just trying to like be as strict as
so many
possible.
dynamics.
I know. But like, I even like this
Which the average
Saturday,
person might not understand. Also,
yes.
like, oh,
But
why just eat it? Why do you care? Like, oh, you'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Just it's just one meal.
Right. For the most part, my friends have been like,
Good.
understanding, which is nice. But like I was like, I guess this Saturday, like I just want to go shooting. So I'm just going shooting. Like I don't need anyone to be there with me. Like, I don't know. I'm just really like, it's fine. I can be alone. I like being alone.
I
I'm
love
good
being
being
alone. I love it.
so do I, but I'm just like, why am I entertaining relationships just to like, I don't know. I don't care anymore. I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we have this idea that we have to, or it makes us
Yeah.
weird or a loner or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get JOMO. I get joy of missing out. I don't give a fuck. I like want to be home
Um,
reading my book or watching Housewives or like just being with James or my cats. I'm like, I like to be with people occasionally, but like my battery gets recharged when I'm like alone. I am
yeah.
not an extrovert by any means. Like,
I get
yeah,
I get FOMO. Like if I was like the next retreat, it's more of like less of a retreat and more of like I don't know, we'd call it like an event. I'm
sure,
missing I'm gonna be in Colorado house sitting and I'm gonna get slight FOMO because I
totally.
like the energy of being around those people. But if it was like a regular retreat like this one, I would get extra FOMO. But like
Right.
what I don't get FOMO from is seeing like my like friends here like go out for drinks with another person. I get
Yeah.
no FOMO from that. None.
Yeah.
None at
It's
all.
it's like a slight moment of like, oh, but then I'm like, nah, I don't give a fuck.
I don't drink
Like,
anyway.
yeah, you don't drink anyways. And I'm
No.
like, I'm like, I can have like two espresso martinis, and if I have a third, anxiety the next day. Like,
Mm.
girl can't fuck with that anymore. I started um Lamictal like on top of my Lexapro, and like
What's
my
Lamectal?
it's like a mood stabilizer.
Mm.
And I like I have like two glasses of wine. No, you're like that's it, girl. Like my tolerance is like nothing. So I usually just like
Mm.
cruise with like I had like a little glass of champs. I think I had like not even like 3 ounces. That's like a normal champagne pour. I like had like literally like 3 sips, and I was like, whoa, your girl is feeling like my tolerance is like non-existent, which like I don't care about. Like, get your mental health in order. Like, I'm not gonna
Hmm.
like not take meds so that I can like drink a fuck ton. I'm like, that's not
Right.
that's not
That's
that's
not
not good.
that's not the vibe. How about
No.
this statistic I read?
Oh, gimme.
I didn't write down who did it, but like literally could Google it. I
Yeah.
was like, how many podcasts like fail?
I love that.
So about I'm not I had a typo, so that didn't make sense. A million podcasts I know. A million podcasts get churned out yearly. Over a
Okay.
million. Okay. Only 20% survive. So
So they're saying a million shows
I'm not
or
sure.
episodes.
I'm not sure if it was a million podcasts start a year, which might be a little bit
Mm.
insane, or a million episodes drop a year. It would at least be episodes.
I
I
feel like
mean,
a million podcasts a year.
it's a lot of people,
That's
no?
yeah, I guess there is. I don't know. I'm bad with
Okay.
numbers.
It's one of the two. Either podcasts start or episodes drop. It's at least episodes drop. We know that.
Yeah, we
Okay.
at least know that.
Here's the one where I was like, ooh, we are killing it. About, no, 90% of the podcasts that start, they don't get past episode 3.
Woo!
We're in the top 10%.
Slay. How do you not get past episode 3?
I don't why you were like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then you realize how much work it is, and
I
and then
guess, but like low key embarrassing. Like
I think
you
I
you can't get past episode 3?
yeah.
I don't know. That
Um,
just seems like a little silly. But I mean, I guess if you are just like here for the hype and you're like, yeah, podcast, and then you're really not into it.
that to me screams no discipline, and you're trying to just rely on motivation.
Yeah. Or like you're just also like trying to be like, you're a little bit like a follower. Like, oh, it's really
Yeah.
cool to like have a podcast, but it's like you have to be okay to do the work. Like, yeah, it's cool and it's fun and we can sit here and we
Yeah.
do the goofs and the gaffs, but it's also like behind the scenes, like it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to produce this type of quality.
I am gagged. I am like, my laptop is currently sitting on a box so that it can be elevated. So you
uh
guys are getting top tier right here.
Mine is on those like little like how they used to have everyone like used to eat TV
TV dinners.
dinners.
I love
It
those
it's on
tables.
it. Well, I got rid of like all of them because I'm like, why do we have all these? They were
Yeah.
Joel's. So I saved I think one, which comes in handy because you need
Yeah.
something randomly. Like we don't need four. We don't need four.
No,
Just one.
no. My parents have like 4 and they're like they have this little stand and it's like in the closet. And I'm like, when did you guys ever use these? And my mom was like, I really don't know, but they come in handy sometimes. Like if I don't like, I'm just like, oh, I just need a little side table and like you guys don't
Yeah.
have another one.
Yeah.
So I might need to like steal 2 from my mom because I like you just need a little something and then you just shove it in the closet.
Yep, that's what
Love
I
it. I love it.
did. I have
I love it.
two reality TV things just briefly want to touch on that I saw recently.
Yes. I love.
So they're really quick. So Below Deck Down Under. Do you ever watch
Oh,
that
I
one?
love Below Deck Down Under. Oh my God, the captain
Same.
is like so hot. Is it
He's
Captain
very hot.
Jason?
Yes.
Yeah,
Love him.
love him.
Love him. One of the deck hands on the most recent season can't swim.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, how did they give him that job? Like that's a hazard. Safety hazard.
Yeah, I honestly
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I would imagine you need to be able to, but I guess if like the ship's going down, you would put your life jacket on. I don't know.
But like,
I don't know.
I mean, think about a deckhand. You
I
work
know.
outside in the water. Like, I'm so surprised. It's almost like they brought him on for more comedic effect. I don't know. Like, I was like, this is dangerous, but I'm only a couple
Well,
episodes
maybe
in,
he
so.
like interviewed with Bravo and that's how he got into it. And they're just like, like normally we probably wouldn't vibe with this, but like,
Well, he works. Did you watch this latest season?
no, but I saw that he can't swim
Oh.
on like TikTok or
Oh,
Insta or something. Like I
yeah.
saw the clip. I haven't watched the season yet.
So he works like his normal job, like he has a lot of not degrees, but like clearances to work on like
Okay.
big commercial ships. Like that's what he does. So like you would think just in general they would want you to be able to swim, you know what I mean? Like
I'd
he's a
also be afraid if I'm like
same.
on a
I'd be
boat and I
constantly
can't
like,
swim.
yeah. 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 So that was numero uno. I just finished Vanderpump season 10. I just want to give you like just
literally,
what?
literally a year later, the new season just
Yeah, so
dropped.
it's perfect
I
timing
love
to talk
that.
about
I
it. Perfect
love it.
timing. Um, had a frog in my throat. Hate that. Um, there. I mean, I understand Ariana like keeping the house and wanting to keep it, but also I feel like because they're using Allie, the house Tom's
Oh yeah,
assistant,
the go
like
through.
like yeah, I feel like maybe they're just portraying it. I'm like, can they be a little nicer to her? Like Ariana's just like, I know she's taking her anger about Tom when she's messaging her, but like Allie's not the bad person. Like she's the mediator at this point. You know what I mean? Do you notice that?
Um, I
Because
have
season 10, they don't show it on season 10, but I guess I started the first next season and they're a little
Oh, okay. You started season 11. I have
yes.
not
Oh, okay,
watched it
okay.
yet.
Okay.
So I will report back to you via
Okay.
text. But what
Okay.
I can say is that they're both tied into the house because of
Money?
one Schwartz and Sandy's, like Tom took out basically like money from
Equity?
equity, yes, to the restaurant. And
Ugh.
then Ariana and him like are jointly on the mortgage. So I can see where she's like, I can't walk away. He's like, I can't walk away. Like they've got a lot of money into it. And
Yeah.
just because they're like reality stars and she's been like on Dancing with the Stars, she got all these brand deals. She is doing Chicago right now. She's probably not making as much money as we think,
Mm,
or
that's what
it's
he said.
not, or it's not as much money to like just like leave like $1 million home, right? Like it's crazy. So I haven't seen the first episode, but I can imagine they pick up filming like right
Three
like a
months.
couple months after. So she's
Yeah.
probably still fucking bitter. I would say like it's not the
Yeah.
go-between's fault. So like,
Yeah.
be nicer, but
Yeah.
I could also be jaded too. I'd probably be a fucking bitch.
I would. Yeah. And I just like, I feel like Rachel, not Raquel, I feel like Rachel just, I have never seen someone lack so much like life smartness. Like, there's book
Mm.
smart and there's street smart. Like, just like, I- where do you think that was going? Like,
So part of me feels badly for her in a way because clearly she was being manipulated, right? But she was also a manipulator. Like she was like manipulating Ariana. Like we're friends. Oh, you should like are you and
oh,
Sandoval having
yes,
like, a
yes,
good sex
yes.
life? But then I'm sure
That was
Sandoval
creepy.
was also like, yeah, I'm breaking up with her, like what's ending. So it's like it's creepy, but you're like a wounded animal, but you're also like trying to eat another animal. Like it's just like what is happening?
Yeah.
This needs to like be studied. This behavior is
Yep.
really sinister. It's just
Yep.
creepy.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
saw Lala was giving some feedback slash
Slosh.
slash just her opinion on Rachel coming out with her podcast, and she was like, it's boring. The cover is boring. She's pretty. She's like, why would she not go on Vanderpump, make bank, and then, she's gonna have nothing to talk about after she talks about what happened.
She's probably making more money doing the podcast.
I can't see that happening because who's gonna keep listening to someone with, like, hate to say
Maybe
it,
they
but
gave
very
her like how many
what?
episodes is there out now of the
Oh, I don't
podcast?
know. I didn't. I only
Let me
listened
look.
to
Let me
Lala's
look it up. Oh, I
good
refuse
critique.
to listen. Oh yeah, you listen to Lala's. Sometimes Lala annoys me.
Well, no, I listened. It was a TikTok and it was just a
Oh,
clip. And I was like, she makes
perfect.
valid points.
So there is shows. Let's see, episodes. Oh, it looks like there's chapter 7. So I have a theory that a podcast company gave her like a 10 episode deal. I don't think this is going to be something
Mm,
that goes on. And she would probably make good money going back to Vanderpump, but her family was like very involved in her life and decision making. So they were probably like influenced, like, do not fucking go back on that show. But then
mm,
also, she could be making bank off of like a 10 episode spread and she doesn't have to deal with anybody. She can just sit and fucking talk and make money and
mm.
not have to like actually deal with the shit that happened.
Yeah. I don't think she's emotionally mature enough to deal with conflict appropriately.
No, I don't
Like,
think
not
so.
at all. Like, even when she's talking sometimes, I'm like, are the lights on up there?
Lights on, no one's home.
Literally, just like a monkey, like.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it feels like sometimes.
it does.
Sorry, but
Do you think it's like she plays it up or is it just like all real?
I don't know. If she plays it up, then she's the true mastermind because she got me fooled.
Because she was like a fangirl of James. So like she
Because
wanted to get
if
on the show, you know? Like
that's
before
true.
they started dating, she like went to the clubs he was like performing at, or she went to Sir. So like I don't know. I think there's more going on than
Mm,
we truly know. I would love to be a fly
yeah.
on the wall. I need to see it happening.
Yeah, she's a specimen, that's for sure.
And that has been your reality TV corner.
Your reality recap.
I love that. I literally live for
Uh,
that.
Before we get into our topic of the origin story of Allie's coaching, I do want to say I'm excited for next Wednesday on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Our next guest interview is dropping with Justine, our longtime internet friend. One day, hopefully, I'll be able to meet her in person. But that's dropping. I'm super excited for that next Wednesday.
Yeah, it is a really good episode. I like had chills the whole time. It was
Yeah.
super interesting, super raw. If you're
Hmm.
like, how do I kind of redefine myself? I feel lost. Listen to
Yes.
this episode. Like it's a fucking banger.
Wait, did we give a trigger warning on that episode? Because if not, you might need to record like trigger warning.
I did.
Okay, okay.
Because yeah, we recapped, but also if you're listening to this, trigger warning going into the episode.
Oh, okay. Wasn't
We got
aware of
both
that
right
one.
there. Bang
All
bang.
right. Bang, bang. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we we had one episode recorded where we were going to talk about both of our kind of business origins, and then we went with Maddie because it's honestly they
It's
deserve two
complex.
separate conversations
Yes.
totally.
Yes.
And so thinking about like where I started is kind of goes back to even in high school. I had such a bad relationship with like my body image and feeling like I need to be the smallest version of myself to be the most valuable. And that obviously it's not sustainable. It's not realistic. And so there was a period of time going from like high school to college where I had this moment of like, I don't want to be the smallest version of myself anymore. I want to feel I want to feel good and confident. And I don't know how to get there, but I'm like sick of being starving. I'm lying in therapy. It's not helping at all.
Hmm.
I am just letting other people's thoughts and ideas and like narratives of how I should look or how they need to look. Like I am taking that on. And I realized like it was never my own. Like I didn't come up with this idea. It was like, oh, I keep hearing people say this, or, oh, if you do this, you'll just lose a couple pounds. It'll come right off. And hearing about, oh, eat this certain fruit, it gets rid of cellulite. And so it was just like
Ooh, what fruit's that? I'm gonna...
a cantaloupe. I'm like, so me and my sister would like eat like mounds of cantaloupe,
Wait, at what age?
like probably like 11 or and then so on.
Oh my God.
So like from very like young age, I was very aware of my body. I was very
Mhm.
aware of how I looked and how I wanted to be perceived. And
Mhm.
then freshman year of college was like, the first time like I'm not living at home. I can kind of make my own decisions. I can like do things and feel a little bit more independent. And that's also when I met James. And his such carefree and neutral relationship with food was like really healing because I would just like watch him eat like whatever. Like he'd get a salad and then he'd make a burrito and then he'd do this and this and this. And like most guys can just like eat a lot of fucking food. But I was like, oh, he doesn't care. He's like not looking at his plate and being like, oh, this is bad or making any comments. I was like, oh, wow, that's like really interesting. So I started to like go to the gym and like stop doing like hit workouts or like I used to like love BBG. It's like Bikini Body Guide. I think is what it was
Mm.
called. And it was like all like 28 minutes and it's like intervals and your fucking heart rate's up and I'm about to
Mhm.
vomit. Like not good. So
Uh-huh.
I started to transition out of that and like get into weightlifting and feel strong. And like I started to notice, I was like, oh, look at that little baby bicep. Oh, this feels really cool. And I slowly started to feel more confident. I was like more hungry, right? Because I'm like
Mhm.
lifting more. I'm getting this awareness of like, oh, I should listen to my body. And then the idea of like, oh, I want to, what do you call it? What is like you pick your major. I want to major
Mm,
in nutritional sciences and I want to go into
mhm,
like more specifics because I
mhm,
started to feel so good. I was like, wow, like imagine if I knew more. Imagine if
mhm,
I like could help other people feel this way.
mhm.
And so senior or sophomore year happened. I gained a bunch of weight because like I kind of just like stopped like caring. It was like kind of the fuck it. I was like, oh yeah, college. Like I'm really in this life. I'm drinking a lot. I'm smoking a lot. I'm like being really lazy. And I had this was like I think the pivotal moment of like, oh, this needs to be a lifestyle change, and not just something that I'm curious about or learning about. It was like it's called spring weekend. It's like the last weekend before finals, and I tried on literally everything in my closet and I was like, I feel fucking so uncomfortable. I do like my shorts aren't fitting. I just don't feel cute. I'm like so fucking over it. I was in such a bad mood. I was like, I don't even want to go out anymore. And I found like I ended up putting on like a fucking t-shirt dress or something. And I was like, I don't fucking care. Like, give me like the fucking like bottle of tequila. I'm over this.
Mhm.
And that summer, it was like, okay, like I actually want to take this seriously. Like I want to feel good and I want to find some sort of balance.
Wait,
Um,
pause real quick. When you look back at pictures, if you have any from that week, what do you like see now?
um, I definitely was not and I don't like to say heavier, but I was heavier than
Hmm.
I was like 4 months later, 5 months later. Like I had
Hmm.
put on a little bit of weight and
Hmm.
I was wearing shorts from high school. So like it's
Hmm.
not necessarily like, oh, I gained a shit ton of weight, but it's like you're in this mindset of like, I have to be the same size as I was in high school or else
Hmm.
I'm I need to lose weight. So it was a
Hmm.
culmination of like honestly treating my body like shit
Hmm.
and also not having clothes that properly fit.
Yeah.
So like if you have clothes from college or high school, fucking throw them out right now. Like if you're
Yeah.
listening, like get out of here.
They're probably shitty
Um,
anyway.
100%. Like they're probably like cringy and not cute, and you don't need to hold on to them. Like release.
Mhm.
Um, so then I going into like junior year, I definitely was on like a little bit more of the intense side of like going to the gym 5 days a week, tracking my macros to a T. Like, and that was easy for me because I'm like super type A.
Mhm.
Um, like I had my class schedule, I had my internship. I was like, okay, this is what I have to do. How can I make money as well? So I was like, oh, like I'll become a personal trainer. And I was like strict. I was like doing all the things. I felt really fucking good. And I probably did that up until like 2019 when I like was diagnosed with agoraphobia. But in that time when I like became a personal trainer, I was like, I want to help other people do this. Like I want to teach them about food freedom. And I that phrase always is kind of confusing to me, but it was like really what started my business because I was like doing email series. I was recording videos and like it would be like join my 5-day food freedom and I would record like
Oh,
15-minute videos like on my
yeah.
computer and I would like put them in the email. I would like have all these downloads and freebies and like it was a lot of fucking work, but it
I need
was
to see one of those videos.
yeah, I need to.
We need to
It's
see them.
probably crazy. I had like probably like bleach blonde hair. The quality is probably not the best. And I'm doing it like in my dorm room. And
Love
so I'm like
it.
telling my roommates, like, oh, just like be quiet for like I just need to record for like 15 minutes. I was like girl bossing in
I
like,
love it.
junior year of
Yeah.
college. And I started to get a lot of these women that were like signing up for the email series that were like DMing me. I started running like free challenges. And then
Ooh.
senior year, I was like, I should start charging for this.
You should start.
Shy. Yeah, I should start
Sorry.
charging for this.
Love it.
Um, I think it was like for 3 months of coaching, it was like $100 or something.
Ah! Ouch. Okay, given the experience, I probably was justified. But
Yeah.
still, like, oh, I mean, I was charging piss money too, like
Yeah.
$75 a month for nutrition and training. What was I
Yeah.
doing?
No, it's so crazy because I had this feeling of like, oh, I don't have my degree yet. Yes, I know a lot of stuff. Like
Mhm.
I've taken like advanced sport nutrition. I'm working with athletes at my school. I work like with a lot of real, I have a lot of cool experiences in my internship, but there was like an
Mhm.
edge where like I don't fully, do I fully like I believed in myself, but it was like I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And I watched this free like live masterclass that was totally not the word then. It was like a live training. And this coach, I was like typing in the chat live and she was like, double your prices right now. Like whatever they are, double them. And I was like, okay. And I was like, wait, like people actually like will pay more. And they did. And I remember I had like a sales call. I wouldn't have even called it a sales call then. It was just like a call. I don't even know. But
Yeah.
I ended up signing this girl that had gone to my college and she was my client for like 3 years.
Oh,
And that was the point where I was
wow.
like, oh shit, like I can actually do this. Like she wants to pay
That's
what
cool.
I'm charging. And within the first, couple of like weeks, she started to feel better. She started to see some changes. And I was like, oh, okay, this is it. So
Hmm.
before I graduated, I like started my coaching business. I was like, we'll do free challenges, but that's not what we're doing. Like we are actually starting to like put worth to where we are. And then when I
Hmm.
graduated in May, I was like, I'm not getting a job. Like I am hell bent on making this business work. And in August 2019, I started my first mentorship.
Hmm.
And by December, I had like made back like everything I invested and like was just slaying. And then in like it was the day after Thanksgiving. So November, whatever Black Friday is, 2019, I
Hmm.
like started having panic attacks and I was like kind of stuck in like a panic cycle
Hmm.
for like 4 weeks. Like my nervous system could not regulate. I was like a hot mess. And that was a moment in my business where I wish I could have, like, where I am now looking back, I would have changed so many things, but I
Hmm.
didn't know how. So I was still
Did
trying
they,
to show up. Sorry, yeah.
I was gonna ask, was there not to make this about agoraphobia, but just kind of it's, part of your business history. Was there something that triggered it, or like how did that come to
Yeah.
be?
So I always was extremely anxious,
Mm.
but my sister was very much my security blanket. Like I could be having the worst anxiety and
Oh.
she would bring me down. But she
Hmm.
moved to Thailand in,
Hmm.
I think it was October. So
Hmm.
ever since she had left, I was like kind of spiraling and
Mm.
it got to a point where then it was like, oh, this is the height of it. And now my nervous system doesn't know how to come down. So I remember I'm like FaceTiming with her and she's 12 hours ahead. So
Hmm.
it's like, it's very, very late for her. I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, you should just go. And she's like, no, no, no. You need to like go on the computer right now and like you need to sign up for like therapy. Like, let's just fill out an intake form. And I have these like nasty, crazy blue, like dark blue acrylics on. I don't like, I was trying to make myself feel better, right?
Sorry.
No, they were horrible. I don't know why.
Uh,
I think I ordered them on Amazon because I was like pretty confined to the house. Like it was like too much to leave. So that's why I was very into my business. Like I was like, I can pour everything into this and it doesn't matter.
mm.
Like I will deal with myself later, but I
Oh, that's
need to
bad.
take care of
Yeah.
all of my clients. I like my
Yeah.
roster was a little bit unmanageable for what I was experiencing, but it didn't matter. I was like, this
Hmm.
needs to happen. So I like ordered these like crazy ass nails on Amazon and I am like typing and I'm like filling out this intake form. And then I like started to go to therapy again and actually like work on shit. Um,
Nice.
which was good, but I also didn't know how to like approach honestly life, my business, health, fitness
Hmm.
with this disorder, right?
Hmm.
Like everything that I knew was like all over the fucking ground. Like I was like, I
Hmm.
don't know where to pick the pieces up. And so all of like 2020 and kind of 2021, I struggled with my business. Like I was kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticked because I didn't know how to
Hmm.
regulate myself. I didn't know. Yeah,
I was gonna ask, and not this is not me pushing this on you.
yeah,
Have you ever thought about getting into somatic therapy? Because you would, this would be
yeah.
wonderful for you.
So there is a fear of mine of going too
Mm-hmm.
intense because
Mm-hmm.
I therapy is an intense enough
Mm-hmm.
and we do a lot. So my brain is always like that could be really beneficial, but it's going to be hard before it's
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel you have to be in a secure place to do that. And like day to day, I don't feel fully secure with
Mm-hmm.
my agoraphobia because it's like panic attacks are like not that I'm embarrassed, but it's like they happen out of nowhere. It's like having
Mm-hmm.
no control. Like it'd be like
Mm.
peeing your pants.
Yeah.
Like it's like everybody can kind of see it. It's embarrassing. And so I've always been open to that and I like do my research. I kind of like I'm like, "Oh, that could be good." But then I'm like laying awake in bed at night having anxiety and I'm like, "Oh my God, what if that opens up a fucking another
Well,
disaster?"
here's what I don't want the idea of you have to, just like our clients, you're letting the
Right.
idea you have to be fully ready to start on something that's going to
Yeah.
benefit yourself.
Yeah.
Because what it sounds like is that you have trouble regulating your nervous system. That's what somatic therapy is. It teaches you
Yeah.
how to regulate and connect and understand. Like, I know when I get chills and when I start feeling my eyes like fluttering, like I have emotions coming out that I need to deal with, but I tend to shove them
Yeah.
down. And
Yeah.
and it depends, you could find someone you hate, find someone you like, just like therapy. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the golden ticket for you is learning how to regulate.
It is, yeah, because it's so intense. And I do feel most of the time I can regulate, but I trust I trust medication. And I
Mhm.
know that sometimes like my body needs a fucking reset. So I am going to take a Klonopin and sometimes I took Maddie a picture. Sometimes I look absolutely toasted and I'm like, whoa, I am so high right now. And then other times it's like I needed that. Like now I can go on about my day and
Mhm.
work and I can support myself. I can support my clients. Um, but I think with like talk therapy, it was really kind of stigmatized in my life and like taking
Mhm.
medication was stigmatized and I'm like
Mhm.
getting over that still. So I imagine
Mhm.
in the future that will be something I do because if
Yeah.
that can kind of bring me to another place of like confidence and like owning
Mhm.
it, that would,
Mm.
like only great things are going to come from that, but it's a lot
Yeah.
of like do you have like are were there stigmas in your life about like therapy or even starting like somatic therapy? Because I feel like I'm so comfortable talking about pretty much anything, but it's taken a lot to do that. And I also feel as a coach in my business, since I have been so open about my agoraphobia and all my clients knew before I really talked about it on the internet, it's made me such a better coach because
Mhm.
they know that this is like a totally safe place and totally judgment free. And when we can have that sort of relationship, we can really see magical things happen because there is no fear of like, oh God, is my coach gonna like, judge me for it? Or like I'm kind of embarrassed. Like we have
Mhm.
all the walls are down, which is
No, that's
iconic. I
good.
love it.
That makes a person successful is kind of
Yeah.
having that. I mean, I even think about with Lacey, like, every time we get deeper with things, like more I tell her more stuff or I feel more comfortable or more things come up and you're like, "Oh, this is why that's happening." But I don't think we really didn't like talk about therapy growing up. Um, we don't really like sit around and talk about it. It's not like it's like you're not allowed to go, but it's just
Yeah.
not something that's like, we all talk about, sit there and kumbaya. that's something that it's just I don't know. And I'm just very like I think I'm insular when it comes to what I'm
Mm,
going through. If it's unless it's someone that maybe understands and is
mm.
also on that level of thinking. So
Yes.
for everyone else, I really don't talk about it with because how would they understand, you know?
You need
Or
somebody with
they
like the emotional intelligence
yes,
to
no,
get it.
and can understand where you're coming from and also had those kind of realizations. So with my sister, even like the sound bowl thing, like
Mm,
whenever I did it, when I came home yesterday off the plane, literally off the plane, came home, it was delivered. I was like, yes. And then when did I? Oh, I think it was, what time did I do it at? Like 5. So it was like 5 p.m. by the time I did it. I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna just see how it feels." Literally within 3 minutes, I started crying. And that's like I am not like, sorry, dad, if you're listening to this, like emotions were not something our parents were comfortable with. Like
right. Same.
it was a stop crying. It was I remember
Why are you
like
crying?
yes, those type of things. Like
Stop crying.
they
Why are you
weren't
crying? I'm like,
yeah.
my throat. Ugh.
No,
You
they
know
weren't
that
they
feeling
weren't
when you're stifling it?
Yep, yep, yep. And so now I have a lot of shame with emotion. Like I
Mm,
do, like a lot, and I don't like expressing it. And even like Joel came in, I was like, because he hasn't heard that before. And he was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm crying right now. I'm like literally crying thinking about it right now. That's where I'm at in my life, guys. Going to Lulu. I'm not saying crying is Delulu, but I'm just saying for someone that's going through stuff like this, like it just
yeah.
opens up these different things. So
Mm,
anyway, even Joel was kind of like, and then I closed the door and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep playing this and see like
yeah.
what else comes out. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm gonna sit here, keep playing and crying. That's what I'm gonna do. So I just kept sitting there
Yeah.
playing and crying, like and like for someone that grew up where it's like crying was expressing emotion
Mm,
was looked down upon, like I felt like the weirdo. I'm even referring to myself as a weirdo right now. It's just like
yeah.
so hard to like break that down. So that's kind of like where I come from, that background of things. And that's
Yeah.
just I know my parents' upbringing. Like my grandpa, when he called me fat at age 6, I cried. He said, "Stop crying." Those crocodile tears. It's all coming back to
Yeah.
how our parents were raised, what was
Yep.
shown to them. It's not their fault. It's generational trauma. Um, and it's hard to talk about that to people who just don't understand or turn an
Mm,
eye to it. Not saying my parents turned an eye to it, but I mean, I can't tell you, I can't really remember what happened after my grandpa called me fat and I cried. Like
right.
my mom probably, I was 6, remember that. My mom probably said something, but my grandpa was also like a hard ass man. Like he was not easy, very hard to be around.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so that's kind of like my experience with it. So I'm very insular with who I talk to about it unless you understand.
Unless you're listening to this podcast.
Uh, the millions of no. But I'm sure
Yeah. No,
people that
it's
listen to
true.
this probably
Yeah.
have done therapy, but I have a client who's in somatic therapy. Love talking to her. Man, she has made such amazing mental progress.
Ugh.
I don't think uh, I haven't had anyone make this type of mental progress because she's open to it and open
Mm,
to by making her environment at home safe and where she wants to be. And I've had clients that refuse to eat more food beyond 900 calories because that's years of trauma of
right. It doesn't feel safe.
eating last, putting everyone else first. And you try talking about therapy to some of these women and they just are not open to it. And
Yeah.
you are not open to healing, and that is okay. Maybe you'll get there at some point, but probably not at your age. I don't think so. In your late 50s and 60s, like if you're really
Right.
resistant, might be really hard too. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's so the not interesting, but I draw the parallel of like you're saying that, sometimes they're not feeling safe and that can feel really hard. And actually, when we were moving, like just recently, I was so terrified that I was going to feel so unsafe because like that's a big part
Mm,
of agoraphobia, what I was like telling you about.
mm-hmm,
Um, is not having that safe space. Like when my sister left, it felt like the rug was pulled underneath my feet.
mm,
Um, when we moved from Bridgewater to Vermont, I threw up the entire car ride. It was 4 hours and I was driving because James had to drive the U-Haul. I'm vomiting. Butter is
Um,
in the carrier
wait,
next to me and I'm trying to
just
drive. No,
this
no, no.
past minute?
From
Oh,
Bridgewater to Vermont when we lived in
okay.
Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I was having all of these thoughts of like, this is going to happen again. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Um,
And those big moments like fucked with my business, fucked with my head because I'm like, I feel so fucking insecure. I don't know
mhm.
how to move through this. And
Mhm.
I was telling my friend Caroline, I was like, I am so nervous about the drive. Like Vermont to where we live in New Hampshire, it's like 2.5 hours. I was like, I am so nervous. Like I was like, I'm gonna like, what the fuck do I do? And she's like, you know what? Like you don't know if it's gonna be that bad. And I was like, okay, you're right. And she's like, listen to your comfort media. Like, what is gonna help you feel good? I was like, okay, you're right. Like Oliver Tree on like H3 podcast. Like I've listened to it and probably like 100 times.
Hmm.
Like
I was like Oliver Tree, and then I remember you talked
love
about that.
Oliver Tree. But he like they have a little like they do like little sketches and bits or whatever when he's on the show. That to me is comfort media. Anxiety, put that on. And
Hmm.
so this time it was so much different because I also recognize I have come so far. And
Mhm.
so as we were driving, was the anxiety a bit high? Yeah. Was I vomiting or crapping my pants? No. I was actually in a place where I was like, I can breathe. I can't talk to anybody. Like, if anybody calls me, that might be it. So I'm just driving and we're all kind of caravanning. Like, my mom's in the car behind me, James is in the U-Haul in front of me. I was like, this is actually okay and this is safe. And it's okay that it's scary, but like, it is actually safe. And so when we got here, the idea of like, oh, how am I going to tap back into business? It wasn't that thought. It was just like, oh, yeah, like, all right, we're going to, unpack some stuff. I need to check in with clients. We're going to do a couple things. So just working on myself has also made business so much, I don't want to say easier because it's not easy, right? But more manageable to
Hmm.
show up in an authentic way. Cause, right, like you can sometimes like bullshit it and be like, meh, but like that doesn't feel good.
Mhm.
So it's really interesting. And I think for me, being so open, like with my clients and talking about it is just, I don't even know if it benefits me, if it actually helps, but I think it just lets others know that it like this is a safe place. Like this is not a place of judgment. Like whatever you're going through, and some people are going through a fucking lot. I am not going to judge you and I'm actually going to be here to support you and teach you how to adjust the plan for what's happening in life. Because like I said, like up to 2019, it was easy to be strict. I loved it. Like the structure, the discipline. I was like, I love this.
I also
I can't
thrive off that.
I can't do that now. Like I can do it in a different way. It can't look like it did. And it took me time to figure that out
Mm.
because I was so hell bent on it being the same way.
Mhm.
And it was like a dumpster fire because it was like my body is like, we are too stressed out. This is not working. And my brain's like, no, 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 but it has to work. So that was the point where I was like, fuck, I don't know if this business is gonna make it. But then I was like, no, it has to, because this is like we have to go back to why I started. Like that was my driving factor of like hanging on to those moments of like why we started.
Mhm.
And now it is just a different feeling. Like it's not in that like scarce feeling anymore of like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on with my life. My fucking anxiety's terrible. Like things are just like happening and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's
So yeah,
interesting.
that is it. And I have so many like definitely things people don't know about like my anxiety. Like I remember I wrote a post like talking about my agoraphobia and I like Lacey messaged me and she was like, holy fuck, I never knew any of this. And I was like, yeah, I should talk about it more because like let's normalize a lot of the things that we're going through because now I have like so many clients who like have like I guess you never really fully overcome agoraphobia, but they are like, I relate to your situation. Like I used to be, housebound or I had really trouble driving or doing XYZ. And like,
Mhm.
I really feel safe with you. And I'm like, Oh my God. I love
Aw.
that. Like that is like so
Hmm.
healing.
That
Yeah.
is, yeah. It is
Yeah.
healing to know that you're creating a calming, welcoming environment and making people feel seen and women that tend to get overlooked, and
Mm.
that is a good feeling for
Yeah.
sure.
And I mean like with what we both do, like how many of our clients, like you said, like they put themselves last
Hmm.
because that's what they've been used to or that's their norm. And even in my life, like I used to be okay with like putting myself last, and that's just not something that I'm okay with. Like that, not like I deserve to be a priority just because I'm a human and I'm existing.
Hmm. I like that.
Yeah. And I remind myself that on the days where it's like you're not making time for yourself. It's like I actually deserve this just because I'm breathing. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to
Yep.
qualify it. I don't need to make a list up of reasons why in my head.
Oh, I do that. I always qualify it. I'm like, oh, I can do this because of that. Like even like Disney trip, like I not going to Disney, I was definitely like trying to qualify why I couldn't go. And like one of the things I said to
Mm,
Lacey, because we were talking about it, and I was like, and Joel's never gonna hear this, but I think he knows. I feel guilty for a lot of the experiences that I get to have
yeah,
because he's here working at home.
right.
And I'm in New Mexico. I get to go to Colorado twice this year to see my sister and, house sit for her at work, of course. And I was, I chose not to go to Disney partially because I get very motion sickness, like just driving, like if I'm in the back seat. And also I'm just not like a huge Disney person, but I was just like, no, you know, it's already a lot that I'm paying to go on this retreat and putting extra money into Disney. Like I don't, that's just too much. It's not fair to Joel. And like something Lacey said to me, because I told her that, and she was like, Christopher doesn't get to do any of this stuff either. And that's her
Yeah.
husband. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that was healing or like qualifying or what, but
Yeah.
like also, she, experiences the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to remind myself that like a lot of the autoimmune stuff that I'm doing and like somatic healing that I'm doing, like I'm gonna go back to doing float tank experiences where you like
Mm.
lay in like a pool of like
How is that?
you wouldn't like it. I don't
Yeah,
think you would like
I
it. No,
it's like too claustrophobic.
I think you need to have like a year in somatic therapy and then you could do that.
Because I always see like videos of it and like
Loved
people
it.
share their experience, but
Loved.
my brain immediately goes to what if I get locked in?
Yeah,
Which I know there's like a handle or something, but
there is.
girl, the brain ain't braining.
I know. The first time the only time I did it, I need to go back. I tried to do no music, but because of the layout of the building, I kept hearing people's doors open and close. And
Oh,
I was like, I feel like someone's walking in. So I was like,
oh,
hey, you turn the music
yes.
on. So they turned the music on. So that way I couldn't hear people.
Right.
And
Okay.
that helped me relax. Like if I am like discomforted, not comfortable, then like I can't fully relax into something.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, turn music up. I need to tune everyone out. And then it got like I would say the last 15 minutes, I was like getting fidgety. But like
Yeah.
I would say there was a 30-minute stretch after the first 15 minutes where I was just like literally like your brain, I don't know where I was. Like I think I was sleeping slash there because like you're touching nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
You were just like floating in space into an abyss of darkness and like music. Like it was
I'm
great.
terrified.
Yeah, you might be like crawling out of your skin. I was in heaven.
That is super, super interesting. Like
Uh-huh.
the idea of it sounds, well, I think for me, the idea always sounds worse. So if I
Mm.
actually did it, and I'm very much I don't like to upset other people. I don't like to I don't like my anxiety to affect other people. So if it was just me paying for it and all of a sudden like, no, I can't do it, I
Yeah,
wouldn't really care. But it's other people. Like if I was going with a group of people and
I
somebody was
don't
paying for
I
it,
don't think you would ever do a group because you
no,
might
but like in life, if there's ever anything like group things, I'm always like in my head of like, oh, should we go? Should we not go? Well, this and this and this.
Oh,
Like, it's too
yeah.
much. So if it's just
Yeah.
me, I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't really care. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
like do what feels good.
And like even when you go try it, you could do like a short session too. You
Totally.
don't have to do like a long session. I just chose the long one because like I'm always like I'm gonna go for the longest time I can
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. You're like, I am doing this and I'm gonna do it intensely and I love it.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I have trouble sometimes saying yes to like fun things because I
Yeah.
do pour into myself so much in other ways because it's like end goal, get off all Humira, be healed. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yes, yes, yes. Fun thing? I don't know. That's exactly what my
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah. I can understand that
Hmm.
feeling guilt about some sort of decision making. Like, I don't know if I sometimes feel guilty saying no to people if I know it's really not going to be good for me. Like, if I know it's
Same.
just going to cause me more anxiety and I really don't care to go, I get really intense anxiety about like the saying no and being like, I don't think that's
Same.
going to be good for me. But it's also a way that we are just like protecting our peace and like setting a boundary. And I think it's okay for it to feel uncomfortable and guilty because like guilt's just another emotion. You got to like ride the wave of it and like not be afraid of it. Like I try to like work with the guilt.
You know what Lacey said? You don't know, you weren't there, but Lacey said
You
something.
know, yeah.
We were talking about guilt, and she said it's very like egotistical because you're
Yeah.
concerned about how you're feeling.
Mm,
Like you are feeling the guilt. People don't feel the guilt. You feel the guilt. And I was like,
mm.
like that just like blew up my mind. And I was like, then why am I guilty? They don't care. Like, you know what I
But
mean?
what if
Like,
they do care? That's where my brain
that's
goes.
not your
It
problem.
Oh gosh. Well, that is that. You know what? Write that down. We're got to bring that to therapy because I am
Add
so,
it to the
and
tally.
I think it was the way that like I was like brought up.
Raised? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to say raised because it wasn't necessarily like something that was like instilled, but it was just an experience.
Yeah.
I am so hyper aware of everybody else's emotions and not
Yeah.
setting people off that if
Yep.
I make a decision that could slightly set somebody off, I'm nervous about that. But then I also feel extremely guilty because I'm like, oh, fuck, if I just said yes and I did this, then this wouldn't have happened. So it's like a lot of like unraveling that childhood trauma and
It
like
is. Yeah.
working with like little Allie and like showing her that
Hmm.
she's safe. But one thing, again, this man has changed my life. James is like so kind in like everything. Like I like will express things and whatever. And he's like, no, that like totally, that's normal. And like, that's okay to feel that way. And like
Mm.
every like you I'm not mad at you if you say no to something or there's just like so much communication that I'm like this is the type of person that I need because my brain is like constantly like overthinking. So if I can just
Hmm.
communicate that
Hmm.
that it takes away all the question marks. Where
Hmm.
like younger me is like oh, don't ask the questions and just try and be pleasant and go with it,
Hmm.
which
I like that.
we are not quiet and pleasant. We rage and we want violence, but we
I think
also love peace and love.
li- literally, I think I'm just like done saying yes to things like I don't want to do
Yeah.
or like really aren't going to be beneficial. Like
Yeah.
I just want to be alone, do what I want to do, go on with my day, probably cry, let out some emotion,
I
and
love
like
that.
get to this inner peace that I'm searching for. I can't remember what I was. It was some clip I saw, some famous dude who like has a beautiful family, he's good looking, he's in movies and stuff, and he got on this podcast and told the story of how he tried to kill himself and
Mm,
like the host was like, I didn't know. I literally never knew anything. He's like, I've never said it. And I was just like, it's just so crazy how like you're still searching for something, you know?
mm,
Like he
hmm.
never found that piece that he was looking for and his only you know, this despite, he tried killing himself, thankfully did not. But I think we're all searching for this type of peace, and some people are aware that they are, and some people aren't, and they're using coping mechanisms that aren't great,
Mm-hmm.
um, to dissociate in a way and to regulate their system, whether that's smoking, alcohol, drugs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but I feel like I'm on that journey, but not through
Yeah.
bad things.
No, no, but it's the bridge between totally like wanting to kind of find that thing, find that spark, the inner peace, and then actually getting there. And the getting there is hard, it's confusing,
Hmm.
it's takes time, it's intense. So I do feel like a lot of people kind of get blocked by life's things. Like it's just easier to like go home and just like get drunk and not have to like deal with it. And I'll try
Binge
and figure it
watch
out another
TV.
day.
Yeah.
Or yeah, binge watch TV or just continue to like push it off with whatever. But I agree. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have to have that rock bottom moment and it's going to look different for everybody. Um,
Hmm.
um, but once you do, you're kind of faced with the decision to be like, okay, like how can I actually work with this? And some people, unfortunately, it's like they don't know how to get out of that. Um,
Hmm.
but I also feel like I had like a rock bottom moment and I'm like
Hmm.
so insanely grateful for where I am today. I'm not grateful that it happened. If I could like rewrite my life, the agoraphobia wouldn't be here. But I'm
Same.
also living in like reality where I'm like that changed me and I was able to move on and like have a life now. And I'm not just floundering like I was.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's rock bottom is different.
Yeah,
Some
like
people I'm like, when are you gonna hit it? Like, are we there yet?
was that not it? Like, oh, we need to go a little deeper. Oh, okay, sure, fair
Some
enough.
people just keep digging. I'm like, okay, well, let me know when you find it.
Honestly, though, I feel like it's like such like a movie trope. It's like,
It is.
they thought they hit rock bottom and oh, now it's only worse. Like this is the real rock bottom. And it's like I feel like any movie, it's just like that you've seen it happen. You think it's your rock bottom
Uh,
and then it wasn't. And so maybe you'll find your rock bottom and you will blossom.
any last thoughts before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I'm actually I like the idea of like hitting a rock bottom because I know in the next episode with Justine's interview, like
Oh yeah.
she is like, imagine like a phoenix rising from the flames. Like
Oh my
the
gosh, I know.
experience that she has had is incredible. And so if you liked this part of the conversation, which obviously you did, you're listening to our podcast, you're gonna love the next episode. It's intense, it's funny. We laughed, we cried. It was like a roller coaster of emotions, but like honestly, in in a really interesting way. Like we got to see her in a different light, and that
Hmm.
felt really important.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I don't have anything to add to that. The only thing I
Perfect.
will add, well, that I will add, is that I have a step challenge starting on February 12th. I will drop the link to sign up below. But there's over $400 worth of $400, sorry, dollars, plural, worth of prizes. You can sign up there. And then I have a surprise coming out on 2/16. It's 2/16 through 2/18. So you'll have
Yay.
to be in my Instagram, my email list, but I'll put the link below. Join the walk challenge because who doesn't like a walk challenge in February when it's hard to walk?
Literally, literally.
Yeah.
You and I were talking about like getting those consistent steps in, and here
Yep.
we are doing it.
Yes.
Lastly, we are announcing the winner of
Oh
our
yeah.
Lululemon gift card. Lauren, you have won, and I will send you a message on Instagram. So keep an eye out for that. And that is it. Let's put a bow on this bitch and
All
tie it up.
right. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching to Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us so we can reach more women just like you. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you can stream podcasts. If you have a burning question about life, friendships, health, and want our 2 cents, email us at kindahotpod@gmail.com. That's KINDAHOTPOD @gmail.com. Bye.
Bye.